When you turn up at the MCN, you end up camping in this field here. Now, normally this is quite dry, but for us it rained days in advance. You can see it's absolute swamp, so tenting positions were a little bit close together around puddles. And it was definitely fun trying to get your bike in and out. This is where they set up all the bikes for the test rides. You can see some of the fleet here. It is a massive selection, and overall you've got a good chance of getting the test ride on the bike you want to ride. You can see a BMW, Honda, they're all there, and it's a very, very busy event. So every morning you need to be up and out of your tent really early to get there before these queues start forming. Every one of the vendors has a queue that is a mile long by about 15-20 minutes past 8. And if you want to get your test rides in, you need to start queuing early. If you time it just right, you can get about 3 to 4 test rides in per day. HARLEY were one of the vendors there out in force. They had a big selection of bikes available, and I was actually lucky enough to queue up and get a test ride on the new sports dress, and it's the first HARLEY I've ridden. I've got a picture of it coming up in a second, and I was actually really not impressed. The back brake didn't exist. The gear changes were sloppy, and seating position I just found so incredibly uncomfortable, seeing so clamshell. My final complaint with the HARLEY is the controls were just so fiddly, and the indicators kept self-cancelling just so quickly. Royal Enfields were big there. They put on a really good show. One of the things they did after your test ride is they invited you back for tea and coffee free, and they had their entire range out for display, including this new Royal Enfield Interceptor, Continental, sorry, and the Super Meteor 650, which is one of the bikes I got to test ride. I found that Super Meteor incredibly comfortable to ride. There's everything you need to do. If you want to cruise through town at 50-60 miles an hour down the backcountry lanes, it's an absolute delight. It's very comfortable. I didn't get the heel toe shift, I had the regular shift. But other than that, it was a fantastic bike to ride, and the wind darted me perfectly in the chest. I would say it's almost a better HARLEY than HARLEY's, just doesn't go as fast. BMW were the other big European manufacturer who really came out strong, but they were really pushing their R18 line. There was a competition. If you test rode that R18, you got entered to win one. I actually went and tried the R9T, and I fell in love. The boxer engine worked really well. I liked the feeling of the gearbox, the seating position, the controls are very good. The heated grips were just right because I did it very early in the morning on the first day. I found it a lovely bike, but I did have the big BMWs for people to try too. Final test ride was one of the smaller manufacturers, Herald, where I got to ride this little blue 250 Scramble. Really nice, really light, really easy to control, very budget, and at a price point of just about, I think, £3,500, it's well worth it being like a second fun scrambler bike for green laning. Triumph probably had the biggest stand, the biggest queues in the day, and I wouldn't be surprised the biggest test fleet. They had a lot of their chrome editions out, both of the Scramblers, the T100s, T120s, the Bobbers, and also their Rockets. They had their whole range of the new speed triples. They were out. They had a leaning experience as well, where you can see how they lean, as well as a couple of competitions to win. They were really pushing and had probably one of the biggest kind of stands and the biggest queues to queue up for. One of the places I didn't try riding a bike because my local dealer down in Washington has been really good about me turning up and saying, hey look, I'm interested, can I try? And they've been very good about that, so I didn't bother risking the larger queues. You can see here the new bikes they had out were just fantastic looking. BSA were also there showing off their new Gold Star, and we're offering test rides, but they had such a limited fleet. It was limited to maybe 6 or 7 people in the morning and the afternoon, but they did split up their bookings. You can go at 12 and try and get the afternoon slot. I never quite made it, but they did look really nice, and they were very, very popular throughout the weekend. This is just some of the smaller stands that were set up. CCM were also offering test rides again. never quite managed to try them out. And we also had an entire area of electric bikes, including the new Super Socos, Zero were there as well, so it's nice to see more than one or two brands showing the electric side of the fence. Along with the actual formal dealers, there were quite a lot of owners clubs. Ducati owner club that were there, and you can see the view from inside their tent. The actual Ducati group themselves weren't there, which I found quite unusual because they were there the year before. Perhaps they didn't find as much value. But there was a big Ducati owners club presence, and it's probably the biggest one except for Triumph. This is another big owners club, the Vulcan Riders, and across from them you have one of the Triumph owners clubs. There's another Triumph owners club a bit further around, of course, but the Vulcan guys are taking up quite a nice big area. You can see this whole stretch is just filled with all the owners clubs. There's a bit more detail here of another version of the Triumph owners club. In addition to all of that, you've also got all the vendors around there. You can see these are some of the tents in just one of the sections, all selling stuff at discounted rates for the sale season. The things I quite enjoyed was actually taking 5 minutes just to sit around and watch some of the stunt riders. You can see here, this is one of the guys on the drift bike, and actually a bit later on, we got out to the Royal Enfield that he set up as a little flamethrower bike. So I'll include a little snippet of that here. Again, it's just good fun to watch for 5-10 minutes and take a break throughout the day.
Now, when you get on your 10 grand bike later, you can't do that. Okay, it doesn't just come naturally. You have to practice for many years. I mean, the bike.
The other area I took a nice break to sit down and watch while I had my lunch was the flat track racing, which was going on throughout both of the 2 days and was really quite entertaining. And some of these people were absolute lunatics sliding down the corners. And it's just nice to see something unusual.